I'll go ahead and get started, and Lucy, you just bring them in as they come in. And I do have a little presentation to kind of go through first, and then Joe will join towards the end, and him and I will do a live role play, him being a partner and me playing a role of a business owner of some sort. So we've got some different scenarios for you all as well. So, all right, let me share my screen. If you do have questions, feel free to interrupt me or put them in the chat box. I, again, as always, probably won't see it until I'm done presenting, but we'll get to it after we get done, or I get done presenting. So we're going to talk through perfecting your pitch and walk-in success today. So the agenda is we're going to talk about crafting a powerful elevator pitch, canvassing for appointments. Again, Joe and I will do a live role play towards the end. And then, of course, we'll open it up for Q&As. So I've got a video first, sorry.
Calls and elevator pitches. Step one is the greeting. Don't ask them how they're doing. Get to the point and while you're calling. For example, when I'm calling someone, I'm going to say, hey, this is Joe. I'm not going to say, hey, this is Joe with Text Living. All I'm doing by saying my business name is confusing the customer, making them think who is Joe with Text Living, instead of this is Joe, and then I get to the reason for my call. We're not IBM. We're not Apple. No one's going to know us as a small company when we're calling the businesses, and it's just going to confuse them. So step two, the reason for your call. This is one of the most important parts of the process, especially when you're on the phone. You need to be natural, confident, and concise when you're stating the reason for your call. So for example, this is Joe. The reason for my call, and the reason you want to start with the reason for my call, is it immediately makes the prospect perk up because they know they've got to respond to you. So the reason for my call is I work with merchants like you to help them build stronger relationships with their customers and increase their revenue. That's it. You're done with the reason for your call. After stating the reason for your call, then you're going to ask for the appointment. Typically, once you ask for the appointment, that's going to lead to step three, to walk through follow-up questions. So questions are the best way to start an engaging conversation and get buy-in from the prospect so that you can win the meeting. For example, you can ask the prospect, do you have a way to quickly and immediately reach 98% of your customers with a few clicks of a button? In most cases, that's going to engage them because it's a thought-provoking question. Next, step four is you got to manage rebuttals. And the best way to manage your rebuttals is to listen, acknowledge, and then ask more thought-provoking follow-up questions to get them back engaged. For example, one that we hear all the time is, I just don't have the money. Now, when managing rebuttals, we want to listen and make sure we heard it, and then we want to acknowledge and tell them back what we heard. Understand that you don't have money for different programs currently. And then you want to follow up with a thought-provoking question. So in this case, if they say, I don't have money, a good thought-provoking question would be, do you currently have a way to draw back loyal customers that may have lapsed? So for example, let's say I've come into your business, had a fantastic experience. The food was great, the service was great, but for whatever reason, I just haven't been there in 20 or 30 days. Do you currently have an automatic way to talk to me and be in my pocket and say, Joe, we miss you, come back in and get $2 off? And in most cases, they're going to respond with no. So then I'm going to follow up that question with, do you think that would add value to your business? If we could drive upwards of 25% of your lapsed customers in each month, making a program that doesn't cost you any money, but actually makes you money. And at that point, I've managed the rebuttal, and then I'm going to go to and say, I'd love to come by, visit with you next week, and show you exactly how we can do that. So step five is get the win. The ultimate win on each call is to schedule a visit with the prospect. That's what you're selling. You're selling the meeting. So here's a few additional tips for successfully setting appointments. Number one, you've got to add value. When you're asking those thought-provoking questions we talked about earlier, it's a great way to add value, because if they think you can add value to their business, they're more likely to give you an appointment. Second, sell the appointment, not the product. So many times when I'm bringing on new reps, one thing I see them doing is talking about all the great features and benefits of our product. That's not important. What's important is when I'm talking to a merchant, do they think I can add value to their business through my conversation on the phone. Not can my product add value, can I personally add value? Make the conversation about their challenges and needs, not about what you want. I'm going to focus on things that will help their business and make them think, that could add value to my business. You want to be conversational. One great way to do this is practice by recording yourself and then listen back to you pitch on your role play with a colleague. Once you get good at recording yourself, then actually role play with friends and family. That's going to get you much better and more comfortable with dealing with people on the phone. Next, you want to always get an email address and try to get a cell phone number. If you get the cell phone number, send them a text. And I do this even when I'm calling and I'm talking to what I would call a gatekeeper. It's not the actual decision maker. Make sure you ask for their email address and ask for the cell phone number. Most times you won't get the cell phone number, but if you do, send them a text. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. You didn't have the business in the first place.
I forgot I had a video come up right after. So. So first, talking about crafting an elevator pitch. So kind of obviously playing off of what he just said in that video is you want to clearly state what makes you and your product unique. Why are you, who you are, why are you there? Tailor it to your audience. So customize how it's going to align with their goals, their business goals. Keep it short and sweet. There's no reason to, again, go on off and start telling about all your features and tools. Keep it short, skip all the other jargon, and say something that's going to capture their attention. Always end with a call to action. Always have some kind of a next step ready to go, whether it be, are you free on Thursday at 2, or can I call back at this time or stop in at this time? Always have that next step, made known to them. And then, of course, rehearse it. It's kind of weird to do, but record yourself, like he said. Record yourself pitching it, pitch it to your friends, your family members. And honestly, the best way to practice is just go out and meet with other businesses. Just because you don't pitch it right, they don't know. They have no idea what you were supposed to say or not say. So always rehearse and practice. And then when canvassing for appointments, always be professional and personable. You don't need to dress up, suit and tie. You don't need to wear all of that stuff. And you all know this. You walk in wearing a suit and tie, they're going to know what you're walking in for, why you're there. So walk in, I always carried my purse and a business card whenever I was out selling. I had the least amount of stuff with me. Use testimonials. Of course, if you are new as a partner, you're not going to have these just yet. We do provide those case studies for you in the academy, so you all are able to use those. We have a generic brand currently for those, but you can always ask us, and we can brand some case studies for you as well until you start building your own book of business, of course. Offer some kind of a special or promotion, gets them to want to meet with you. For example, 30-day free trial or 90-day money-back guarantee. We would always say money-back guarantee because we don't like free stuff. But obviously, if you do offer some kind of a free or a trial, when you're pitching that to them, you're going to have certain, parameters around that. So free trial, maybe you are going to do the scheduling for them, so you know that the texts are being scheduled. Or you don't get a kiosk. If you go over 500 texts, then we'll start charging you, or whatever it may be. But make the actual upgrade more appealing. They get a kiosk, they get all loyalty, all of this other stuff. Of course, be prepared for the common objections. We do have common objections in the academy for you. So kind of prepare yourself on those as well. I'm going to try to do some of those with Joe today as well. And then, of course, if you all come up, here's some other objections that we don't have in the academy for you, reach out, let us know, reach out to me, schedule a meeting, and we can kind of walk through those together. And spend money. So when I was out selling, I always tried to make sure I was going into a different coffee shop every day. I had to have my coffee every morning. So I try to go to a different coffee shop, get a coffee, and then start talking to whoever it is there and start asking questions, and going out to dinner on the weekends or in the evenings with your loved ones. Spend the money and then ask for to talk with the owner or, general manager or somebody. So spend the money. All right. So is Joe on now? Yep, there you are.
Here.
So we are going to do a role play. We've got a few different scenarios for you all, just to kind of do a few different industries, and I'll kind of throw some objections at Joe. Again, this is scheduling a meeting, not actually sitting there in the meeting pitching to the merchant. So awesome.
Awesome. Let's kick it off. I'll be a little rusty, but we'll do our best here. So we're gonna start off calling a coffee shop. Perfect.
Yep.
Typically when when we're doing, call blitzes, things like that, we typically already have the owner's name because we pulled that either from Apollo. And so today on the for our role playing, I will already know the name. So I'll ask specifically for that person when I call in. So we're gonna do a coffee shop, and then what else do you want to do, Jillian? Maybe a plumber, and then
plumber and tire shop.
okay.
Since you got a good sale there, that will be a good one to.
Yeah, I think on our mastermind recently shared that we closed a 26 location tire shop. I say tire, it's really, they're called Gateway Tire, but they do full service. So they do everything from oil changes to brakes to windshield wipers to you name it. They anything to do with your car, they're gonna be able to repair it. So we can kind of do a role play on that one as well. Awesome. Well, let's kick it off with the coffee shop here. Ring, ring, ring.
Sounds good. Jillian's coffee shop.
Is Jillian available?
I think she's here somewhere. What can I help you with?
Yeah, I actually stopped by there last week and was having a cup of coffee and had a great experience and got her name. Wanted to just have a quick chat with her about some opportunities.
Okay, here, I'll give you the phone to her. Hold on just a second.
Thanks.
Hey, this is Jillian.
Hey, Jillian, this is Joe. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing great. I actually was in your shop last week, had a phenomenal experience. Your staff was fantastic, and the coffee was really good. I actually had a little espresso there, and it was fantastic. So got a really neat little business there. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. What can I help you with, Joe?
Yeah. The reason for my call is we work with a lot of coffee shops just like yours to help them build stronger relationships with their customers and increase revenue. And I was going to be back in the area next Tuesday and just wanted to see if I could swing by, learn a little bit more about, your communication with your customers, how you market to them, how you communicate with them, and then maybe share how we help other coffee shops just like yours increase revenue. Would you be available next Tuesday or Wednesday?
I'll have to look, but we do have texting capabilities.
Oh, interesting.
Where we can communicate already.
I didn't mention anything about I didn't mention anything about texting, but I'm glad to hear you got texting.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. So you're currently doing texting. Very cool. We actually do have a texting solution. I'd love to learn more. Like, tell me a little bit about how you're currently texting your customers, if you don't mind sharing.
Well, we send out a text every now and then about different things happening within the company. And, we're able to communicate with some of our customers that way.
How big is your database?
Oh, I have no idea. We have quite a few in there, but I have no idea how many numbers we have.
And then how do you build that database currently?
Through our point of sale.
Okay, very good. Well, what I'd love to do, might not be an opportunity for us to work together, but we've been in the industry for, over 15 years doing text and other, text communication solutions. So worst case, I can give you a few good ideas that you might not be currently using with your current platform. In best case scenario, maybe we've got some products that you find that are more interesting and we could migrate that over. But I'd love to, again, just come in and learn a little bit about how you're currently using the current platform, share some ideas of how we've helped other people use it, and kind of look at how you're acquiring those customers. And again, see if I can give you some ideas to enhance what you're currently doing. Sound good?
Yeah. So does yours, what is the pricing on yours? How does that work?
So typically when you think about pricing, it's going to be depending on what solutions you're using, because we have a lot of different solutions and that's going to determine the pricing. But our average customer spends about $150 a month with us on the platform, depending on, it can be a little less or a little more over time, depending on how they're using the platform, how much automation. Are you currently doing automated text or are you just blasting out?
I don't know if we can do automated text. We're just blasting out some text.
So right now, that brings up a good question. So right now, let's say I was in your coffee shop last week. I didn't see where I could sign up for text, right? Um, so that's why I was asking the question, how people sign up. And let's say I had a great experience, staff was good, coffee was fantastic, but there's lots of places I can buy coffee from, right? And how do you like automatically reach back out and say, Joe, we miss you at Jillian's Coffee if I've lapsed or you lost, like I hadn't been there in 30 days? Do you have a way to automatically do that with your current platform?
I don't think so, no.
So that's one simple idea that like I can kind of share, and I'll have a host of other ideas that potentially could help you enhance again what you're currently doing, or maybe we're a better fit, maybe not. But worst case, you'll leave that meeting with some great ideas of how to use text better and how to communicate and build a bigger database and drive more revenue.
Okay, I guess we can kind of talk about it and see what the
Awesome.
differences are.
Um, next, let's see, Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Does that work well for you?
Yep, that works.
Perfect. I've got your email address is JJJ, and also got, do you mind sharing your cell phone number so I can just send a confirmation?
Sure.
Perfect.
Blah, 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 blah.
Awesome. I'll get that invite sent out, and I look forward to enjoying another cup of coffee with you next Tuesday at 1.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. So a couple things I want to address there that are interesting. So typically, I've got a framework where I'm trying to sell the appointment, not get too deep into the product. But if the product comes up, now I'm going to start digging deeper and asking questions and just having a conversation. And so that's why no script, in my opinion, like scripting is good for practice, but you got to be willing to kind of dive and navigate, or detour is a better word for it, when you're on a call. And if you get someone talking and they're willing to open up, you can start asking more questions, and that's going to prepare you to be, prepare you for the call when you show up next week. So that was a good one. You threw some good ones at me.
Kind of think back. I had some written down so I wouldn't, I had to think through some objections there.
No, that was good. That was good. One of the things I always like to do is I'm trying to sell value in meeting with me, not value in the product. And if you really think about what I said multiple times, is I took a more consultative approach. If I'm gonna, worst case, like, look, obviously I want you to buy from us. That's what that was my sentiment. But worst case, I want to help you. I want to give you some ideas to help your business be more successful with your current platform. And so that will drop a lot of barriers for people. And if they believe me through my questions, and when you start asking good questions, people think you're intelligent. And then they're going to more likely give you the meeting. So good stuff there, Jillian. All right, we want to do the power shot this time.
Sure.
It'll be very similar. Sometimes you have these conversations and you're super broad and you get the meeting. Today we're really kind of diving a little deeper where we're having a conversation and managing these rebuttals. So
I'll just go ahead and answer as the right decision maker too.
okay, so this is a bigger deal, so I'm going to act like that I'm calling the marketing director, right? Because a lot of times we're calling owners on bigger deals. Typically, you're dealing with either a general manager or a marketing director. In this case, on this customer, we actually had 3 decision makers that were all involved. We had regional managers and a marketing person. So, and ring, ring, ring.
Hello, this is Jillian.
Hey, Jillian, this is Joe. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. How about you, Joe?
Doing well, doing well. The reason for my call is we've worked with a lot of service businesses like Gateway to really help them build a database of customers communicate, appointment reminders, and just really help them not only, communicate more efficiently with their customers, employees, and leads, but also drive more trackable revenue. I'd love to schedule maybe 15, 20 minutes to, learn more about how you're currently communicating with customers and prospects. And then maybe share some ideas how we've helped other service type businesses like you increase revenue through our customer engagement platform. Would you be available maybe for a quick Zoom next week?
Is there anything you can maybe send to me, because there'll be multiple people kind of needing to look over something like
Yeah,
that, not just
yeah.
with me, but
Yeah, absolutely. What I can definitely send you some information, Jillian. What would probably work better for both of us, instead of you trying to digest what all we do, like looking at the I'll send this as well, but what would be probably better for us is to maybe have a quick introductory call and let me ask some questions and learn, and so I can send you more appropriate information to solve specific problems for your business. Because, I send out a piece of material and you might not be thinking the same thing I'm thinking. If I ask you the right questions and uncover some potential challenges you might be having on the communication side, I can then create a custom kind of document for you to share with your team, or maybe you decide that we just need to all jump on a call to do it. So I'd prefer to do that, but if you don't mind, let me ask one question. Um, Currently, do you have a way, like, let's say someone's car is ready? Do you have a way to text them and let them know, hey, your car's ready? Or if you have any questions, they can respond about questions about their car. Do you have a way to do that?
we have somebody that will call and let them know that their car's ready.
Gotcha. And do you run into the same thing that a lot of people in the service industry run into, that people don't answer their phone?
Yeah,
So
I'm sure they run into that some.
yeah, so one of the things that we've done is, like, when people have a question, whether it's a prospect that needs their tires fixed or needs their oil changed, or we're letting someone know, hey, um, we need to do a specific service. When we were doing a diagnostic, we noticed that you need this, this, and this as well. And when you call, a lot of times you have to leave a message. Well, you can text, you can literally start talking back and forth, and then get approval to do the other jobs for them. And so that's been very beneficial for a lot of our service-based businesses. So that's just kind of one way potentially. If you saw you saw a flyer, you wouldn't be thinking that way about how you're going to be able to, inside your business, be able to communicate to these customers and create some more efficiency with people making phone calls and literally wasting time because they're not getting a high percentage of people to answer the phone. So that's just kind of one way we would kind of learn about how you're communicating with customers. And if, like I said, if we could spend 15, 20 minutes, I'd love just to learn more and then share some ideas. And then maybe the next step would be we could bring in your team to kind of see if it's something that's, beneficial for you guys. Does that sound good?
Okay, yeah, you and I can meet then. That's
Uh,
fine.
Next Tuesday, 1 o'clock work for you? And then I get all the
Yeah,
information.
that works.
Gotcha. So a little bit different, and it is going to be a little bit different when you're going after these service-based businesses. They are using our loyalty program. I don't necessarily talk about loyalty or stuff, but if I'm getting some rebuttals, I like to ask questions and try to solve a problem I think that a business may have. As you get better with solving problems with our platform, you can start doing like what I did, talk about, all they literally are calling people, which is, by the way, is how most service-based businesses do it. The large ones don't. The large ones are doing that, but a lot of the small guys just don't have the technology to do that. So very good.
Awesome.
We'll do one more, and then we'll
Yeah,
open.
to a plumber.
Then we can open it up for questions on kind of,
Yeah.
things like that. Um, I will say that if I went back and analyzed it too, there's a couple things I would change. Practice makes perfect on this stuff. And, it's interesting. I used to blitz with the team, and it always take me a good, 5 or 10 calls to really get in a groove. And I'd always prepare before, like make sure I've got my thought process, my structure I want to go through. And when you're doing it on a regular basis, whether you're walking in the door or you're on the phones, you're just going to get, more proficient, more confident, better at, better at handling those objections. So, all right. So we're doing now we're going to
Do
do
a
the
plumber.
plumber. Awesome.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. We're starting to go after more service-based businesses at Tex Living as well. So I think there's just lots of opportunity for all of our partners to think about different ways to use it instead of just brick and mortar retail, and restaurants. Ring, ring, ring.
Jillian's Plumbing.
Hey, Jillian, this is Joe. How are you doing today?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing well. I'm doing well. The reason I'm calling is we actually work with a lot of plumbers to help them communicate with leads and communicate with customers more efficiently, with business texting. And I wanted to see if maybe I could schedule some time to learn a little bit more about your current processes, kind of how you're, communicating when you got a new lead that is interested in plumbing, how you stay top of mind whenever you've got, you know, you only need a plumber in an emergency. So how do you stay top of mind? So when someone needs a plumber, they're coming to you first. And then how you're just communicating services to your clients, or reminding them about their appointment or whatever it may be. So would you be available next week for a quick call, or maybe even an in-person meeting?
I am pretty busy. Is there anything that maybe you can send to me about that?
Yeah, I'm happy to send you some stuff, but if I could just for the first call maybe spend 15 minutes, really understanding and making sure it's even a good fit for you. One of the challenges, like if I send you something, you've got to go digest it, think about the problems you're trying to solve. I may ask questions that are going to uncover problems you're not even thinking about. And so if I could, spend a 15-20 minutes with you, ask a bunch of questions, and I can send you information that's going to be more tailored to solve specific communication challenges you currently have. For example, let me ask you this question. So right now, um, is Google reviews something that's important to your business?
Yeah, word of mouth is a big way that I get businesses, and I think review sites are really good
Gotcha.
for making sure I'm a good company.
Very good. And from what we've seen in our world, positive reviews are the most valuable, right? You don't want negative reviews. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you have a way to solve the ability to not get a negative review whenever someone's upset and only get positive reviews?
Oh, no, I don't even know if anybody keeps up with all of that.
And so that's one thing we can do to help you is when you've got a customer, we can engage them immediately after the service. We can ask them to tell us about how, one-to-one with you, how their experience was. We can get them to rate that experience and let them feel heard. And if it's a negative response, you're able to manage that. If it's a positive response, we'll drive them to Google to give you a review that's going to help you get more business. But one of the things you don't want is to get a negative reviews on these review sites. And so we're able to not only get you more positive reviews, because we're going to make it easier for them to give you a review, and we're going to drive them to give you a review automatically, but we're also going to be able to get them, those people that maybe didn't have a great experience, for whatever reason. You're going to be able to learn as the owner of the company, why didn't they have a great experience? And maybe it was that, the technician didn't take his shoes off or didn't put his booties on when he came in. It could be the simplest thing, but then now you're going to be able to, use that for training and make sure that you're making your company better overall. And it's never going to get to Google or to the review site, because we're going to be able to manage that inside the platform. And so that's just one little simple idea. As I'm asking more questions like I just did about the Google reviews, that I will be able to learn about and help you solve some of those specific problems, in your business.
Okay, is something like that going to cost a lot of money? I don't have a lot to spend on marketing.
It's just $1 million, so you're good. No, it's the platform is very, very affordable. We pride ourselves on the fact that with our tracking and everything, when you look at the marketing side of our platform, which we have a marketing platform as well, you should not be paying us any money. And what I mean by that is we're going to be able to track a return on investment. Do you do ads right now? I mean, most plumbers have ads on social media or maybe in a local magazine or coupon magazine, things like that.
Yeah, we do some social media and some newspaper local ads.
So one other thing I'll show you and we'll talk about is like my goal is to help you track that ad, build a database of people, keep them engaged. So when they think about plumbing, they're going to come to you, and then actually be able to track how many people, have spent money with you so that now you're going to know that I spent X amount of dollars with Tex Living and they drove in, 5 times more than that. So as you're building a database, not only we're going to solve some challenges with just the operational side of your business and communication, but we're going to be able to, solve some other problems around marketing, helping you build a database and actually tracking that and driving more revenue for you. So long term, you should be making money. In short order, you should be making money. You shouldn't be paying us. You shouldn't be losing money with our platform.
Okay. Yeah, we can meet.
Awesome. I'm filling up on Tuesday, but is Tuesday at 1 o'clock work for you?
That works.
Awesome. Good deal. So this is where you got to be careful with scripts. Like I still use the same script flow, right? I have a greeting, reason for my call. I do follow-up questions to really try to dig deep. I ask the question behind the question to try to get them to open up. And I ask questions I typically know partially the answer to. And they're usually not yes or no. If they are yes or no, it's because I'm going to have a follow-up question. Then I manage those rebuttals with more questions. Try not to get too in the weeds with the product. And if I talk about the product, it's going to be more about solving a problem, not, what people make a mistake of doing is they start pitching all they have. We've got a loyalty program, we've got automated text, they don't care, right? Why? Maybe they have a loyalty program, but by asking a specific question and showing interest in their business and solving problems for them, well, then I can talk about a specific solution, not the actual platform. Because she cares about Google reviews. She told me that. She gave me a layup, right? If she said she didn't care about Google reviews, I wouldn't have talked about Google reviews after that. I'd have shifted to another question, right? Because you don't want to show up and throw up, right? You got to show up to the call and try to solve problems for people. Um, we can open it up for Q&A. See, there's a couple questions you got.